The debug window widget, it's a window that you can use to redirect the default std out and or the default std. You import it from the ttkwidgets library to install it, install ttkwidgets, and we are using this example that create this debug window, and we added to that example some other stuff. So we added this buttons and we changed one of the parameters. So if I click, for example, on this print OK button, it will print it here. There are other function or other added buttons that I'm going to talk about later. You can see here that there is this menu file in which you can save your file or your output into a file, and also there is the exit button. So the code is simple. You create your main window and then you create your debug window by specifying the master and some other parameters. For the parameters, you can specify, as I said, the master, the title of the debug window, the std out value, if it's true or false. Do you want to redirect the default std out? And the same for std error. Do you want to redirect the errors or not? The width in characters, and the auto hide scroll bar, which means do you want to use a regular scroll bar or do you want to use the auto hide scroll bar, another widget from this library. So here I'm going to show you the parameters. For example, if I move std error or I set it to false, the default value, and I change this one to false and run the code. So when I click on the OK button, it will still print the message on the debug window. But if I generate an error, for example here by clicking on generate error, you can see that the error was generated here. There's also the visible scroll bar even if there is no scrolling or there is no need for scrolling. Now I'm going to set back the parameters I've used earlier. So here true and stdr, set it to true. Now I'm going to run the code again. You can see here always print OK, but if I generate an error, the error gets printed into the debug window. If I look into the scroll bar, you can see here that there is no scroll bar because there is no need for it. But if I click again, you can see that the scroll bar is visible. The other parameters that you can specify are the ones related to the top level widgets. Now we are going to talk about the methods that I'm calling and the functions that I've defined. So here is the print OK, just print OK. Generate error, I call the function that make a division by 0. So it just call 5 or it just make this operation. Close the debug window will call the quit method of the debug window. Here I created another function to create a new debug window and assign it to the same variable, so it will still be available for the other buttons or the buttons that need the access to the debug window. Here again I'm printing OK here. If I call close the debug window and I print OK, we can see that the printing is again directed or redirected to the standard output and the standard error. I'm creating again the debug window, and right on the debug window I'm writing a text. So this is actually the right method called when you generate or when you call print or when you generate an error. This is the method called the method write and used by the debug window. Create a new debug window, we've seen it. I defined also a new function, clear text, that will simply call delete of the text widget of the debug window, since the debug window is a top level containing a text widget. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.